I accidentally put like way too much sugar in my tea and now I'm just living with the consequences of my actions. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are trying out the Milk Makeup Blur Liquid Matte Foundation. This is not a new foundation or anything, I've just never tried it. So we're gonna do that today, do a little first impressions, little wear test, and yeah, just see how this foundation works. A little bit of information about the product. This does retail for $40 on Sephora, and you do get 1 fluid ounce, which is pretty standard for a foundation. It's in their sort of typical clear packaging, says milk on it, very simple, very classy. It says it is full coverage. It's for sensitive, normal, combination, and oily skin. I have dry skin, but we're gonna see how it works anyway. And it is a matte finish. So it says an ultra weightless full coverage foundation with an oil-free, silicone-free formula that lets skin breathe. So cool, formulated without parabens, sulfates, and phospholates. And this product is vegan, oil-free, gluten-free, silicone-free, and cruelty-free. This is in the shade Crème. I got this in gratis. I don't know if this is the right shade or not, but we shall see. Looks a little dark. It looks like almost a little orangey. It's not quite the right shade, but it's okay. We'll make it work. Crème is like the 3rd shade in, so I probably should have gotten porcelain. I think that would have worked a lot better, but this is what we got, so we're gonna work with it. So I'm just going to start off by priming with the Smashbox Primerizer. This is like my go-to standard primer. It's just nice and hydrating. And I brought you guys in a little bit closer so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to do 1/2 with a sponge and 1/2 with a brush so we can kind of see how this foundation works. Alright, so I do have just a little bit, about 1 pump on the, or 1 squeeze on the back of my hand. I'm just going to work my brush in to that foundation and start on the right half. Well, this shade isn't too horrendous. Getting pretty good coverage with just that small amount of product. This is probably about how much I would use. I don't like a super full coverage. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of a smaller brush just to get around my nose and really get the product worked in. This one is from Pixie. Oh, the other brush I was using is the e.l.f. blending brush. So I dimmed the lights a little bit just so you can kind of see what's going on here. It's looking actually pretty good. I wouldn't call this like a matte finish. It's like, I would say like a natural finish. It's not super glowy, but it definitely doesn't look like matte. You know what I mean? It is, I feel like, emphasizing a little bit of like texture and pores on my forehead, which I don't typically have issues with, but other than that, I'm liking the way it looks. On the sponge side, I'm taking about the same amount just on my finger, and I'm just going to tap this on everywhere. I feel like my pores are looking like huge today. Well, maybe it's because I used like a pore cleansing mask yesterday, so now my pores are looking like gigantic, but it's fine. Alright, so this is what it's looking like on the sponge side. It's definitely slightly less coverage, but still fairly good. I do think that, especially on the sponge side, it's like settling into my pores a lot, so you may want to use like a pore filling primer underneath this. But I still like the finish of it quite a bit. I'm not sure what side I like better. I like the coverage on this side, and it looks more kind of like even on the brush side, but I like the sort of natural looking finish on the sponge side. So probably what I do with this one is do a brush and then tap over it with a sponge. All right, I'm gonna try to build it up on the sponge side just a smidge, just so we can get even. I do think it looks like a little bit less like makeup-y on the sponge side, which I like. Just gonna build up a little bit on my cheek area. Seems to be building nicely. All right, so that's what we're looking at about 2 coats. It looks nice. I'm gonna tap over the brush side with my sponge just to kind of see what that looks like. It's definitely removing a little bit of the coverage, but it is looking less like makeup-y. I like the finish of it. It looks really nice. I would not call this a matte foundation though. I think like natural would be a good word. I feel like if you have oily skin and you and you like a matte finish, I don't know if you would love this. We shall see how it wears throughout the day. It doesn't feel like it's gonna dry down all the way. It actually feels a lot like my IT Cosmetics CC cream, which I really love. I am just going to set like the areas where I'm gonna blend powders and stuff. But otherwise, I think use this one with just all cream products as well. So anyways, yeah, that's what we're looking like right now. I'm gonna go do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to give you some thoughts, and then we'll do a little wear test. And we are back. This eyeball will not stop watering, and it's like wearing off all the shadow on the lower lash line. Anyways, the foundation is looking phenomenal. I set pretty much my entire face with the Hourglass Veil setting powder because it was like too sticky to try and blend powders on top of. And even with the powder, I had a little bit of difficulty blending the powders, but they still look nice and kind of seamless on the skin. I'm interested to see how this foundation does with like a more mattifying, really setting down powder. The Veil, it does set the makeup, but it doesn't really lock it down so that you can blend powders and stuff. I like the way it looks, so that's why I use it. So I'd be interested to try it with like the Milk Makeup Blur powder, and I'd be interested to try it with cream products, because a lot of times I'll just do an all cream product face, let it be. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily blurring or smoothing, but I kind of think to expect your foundation to do that is a little bit bullshit anyway. Like I said, I do feel like it settled into my pores a little bit, but other than that, it's not emphasizing texture at all. It's looking really nice and smooth and pretty on the skin. So as of right now, I would wear this again. It is now 1:40, so I don't know if I'll be able to do a midday check-in. If I can, I will. We're gonna call like when we finished, like 12:30, because that's about when I finished with the foundation. But I will do a end of night sort of wrap up around like 9 o'clock tonight, so keep it on for a good like 8.5 hours, which is about the length of a normal day. And if I can do a check-in between now and then, I will. Yeah, I will see you all in a little bit. All right, it is like almost 3:30 right now. We're just in the car heading to a work thing for Adam. I just want to give you an update on how the foundation's looking. I will say I think it's looking a lot more matte in natural lighting than it did under the studio lights. I wouldn't really call it a full matte foundation still, but it is looking a little bit more matte. I don't know if you can see, but it does look a little bit cakey around my nose here and kind of like on my jawline, like chin area. It just looks a little bit heavy, but not bad. I feel like this is one of those foundations that looks really good on camera, but like in person can look a little bit heavy. I think it's looking nice for like a really full coverage semi-matte foundation. So yeah, I'll see you guys at the end of the night. All right, and we are back. It is now 8:31, so it's been about 8 hours. Pretty good amount of time. And the foundation looks pretty good. I think it held up fairly well. It's weird, some areas I feel like it got more matte throughout the day, and then other areas it looks more like almost oily. There are definitely some areas where I don't love the way it looks. Like I feel like the center of my forehead, and Adam even said this too, it looks like it's breaking down just a little bit and kind of sinking into my pores. On my jawline it looks a little bit dry and a little bit kind of textured. And then kind of around my nose too. Nose isn't too bad, and foundation tends to bunch up there no matter what it is, but a little bit, that's just from my glasses there. So I think this is one of those foundations where it looks phenomenal like on camera and in photos and from a bit of a distance. And like I was looking in the mirror like from a distance and some photos and stuff, and my skin looked fantastic. But it's when you get up real close, you do kind of see it looks a little bit heavy, it looks a little bit makeup-y, just slightly, not a whole lot. It definitely doesn't look too drying or anything, which is what I was worried about. I do think that this might not hold up if you have really oily skin. I would say like probably like combo to dry is probably what this foundation is best for. It is, I would say, like a demi-matte finish, so it's not really glowy or it doesn't have any real shine to it, but it's not completely matte either. It's kind of right in that middle zone. This is good for somebody who likes a lot of coverage and who doesn't like a super matte finish. I would say if you like a super matte finish, if you get super oily, this is not for you. If you don't like full coverage foundations, this is also not for you. Me personally, I don't wear full coverage very often. I do like it time to time, so I don't see myself reaching for this, at least not on its own on a day-to-day basis, but I'm curious to play around with it. I want to see how it sort of mixes in with other foundations, how it mixes in with primers, how cream products blend on top of it, how it wears without a powder, all of that jazz. So I know this is just a first impressions. So far, I like it. It's not my most favorite thing I've ever put on my face, but I do like it. I think, again, it's good if you like full coverage and you like a demi-matte finish, because it does wear well and it does look nice on the skin, and it's also good for photography and videography and all of that jazz. Anyways, I think that is all of my thoughts for tonight. I hope you all are having a wonderful day or night or whatever. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all soon. Bye.